Hello everyone, Kaoz here, and welcome to another old school RuneScape video. I'm sure we've all been there. You're doing some casual slayer, grab another task, and get something like Iron Dragons, Elves, or God forbid, something like Water Fiends. You check your points to see if you can cancel the task, and oh boy, you have less than 100. In today's video, we will go over a technique to efficiently farm Slayer points, so you never have to deal with something like that ever again. Or for you to cancel as many tasks as needed to get something you're actually hunting, like a boss pet or a collection log slot. Boys and girls, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe with notifications on and to drop a cheeky like for the YouTube overlords. If we hit 100,000 subscribers this year, I'll go skydiving and risk my life for numbers. You can also join our Discord with the link in the description. In this video, we will talk about the benefits of Turael boosting, the difference between boosting and skipping, and a small comparison between Turael boosting and Wilderness Slayer. We will follow that up with recommended quests and items, gear and inventory setup, and then we will go over 2 locations for every monster in Turael's list. I will close it out with what you should do for your 10th task, points after a big streak, and approximate points per hour. So boys and girls, let's begin. The very first thing we will talk about is why you should do this and the differences with other methods. Turael boosting is simply asking Turael for tasks until you hit a streak of 9. To then go to your preferred Slayer Master, as it will give you more points for a 10 task streak. The cool part about Slayer is that you can ask different Slayer Masters for a task, and your streak will not reset, which is why people do this to gain increased points per hour. You may have heard of another term called the Turael skipping. If you didn't know, if you get a task from any Slayer Master and you don't want to do it, but you have no points to cancel or block it, you can go to Turael and ask him to give you an easier task, but he will warn you that this is going to reset your streak. This is done to quickly cancel your current task if it's not what you're looking for, to do a task that will take less than 5 minutes, and then go back to your preferred Slayer Master in hopes to get lucky at a better task. Looking at it, this is not a bad idea to get what you might be looking for, but Slayer streaks are extremely important for those extra points, and you should only do this under extreme circumstances. This is comparable with Wildy Slayer through Cristelia, who gives 25 points per task with a respective multiplier for big streaks, like 10, 50, 100, and so on. Towards the end of the video, we will do a little analysis as to which one is better for points, but these are the 3 big things you should look forward to for Slayer to gain more options and for you to gain more Slayer points. So let's now cover recommended quests and achievement diaries, which will tie in with areas and items I recommend to make this grind a lot quicker. Be advised that you can do Turael boosting with absolutely none of these, but it's going to end up taking a little bit longer. Since we have a lot to go over, I will mention each of these rather quickly. Both the Lunar Diplomacy and Desert Treasure 1 will be helpful for the NPC Contact spell and Lassar Teleport spell respectively. If not available, simply teleport to Burthorpe or Falador. The Dwarf Cannon quest is crucial to set up and use a cannon, even for single combat areas to finish off your enemies and the task a lot quicker. And it goes without saying that you should do the quest to Priest in Peril for access to Mauritania and a bunch of easy tasks. The Mauritania Hard and Elite Diary will grant you the Bone Crusher with different effects. And since we will be killing monsters that drop bones, this is for Chip Prayer experience. You can do the quest to Ghost Ahoy to obtain an item called the Ectophile. When you use it, you will be teleported north of Port Phasmatis, which is a great to teleport for 2 tasks. The Desert Amulet will provide teleports to both Narda and the Kalphite Cave. We have alternative methods for these spots I will mention later on in case you don't have it. The final achievement diary needed is Ardi, and any tier of the cape works as we will be going to the Ardi Monastery, and even the easy tier will provide unlimited teleports there. Monkey Madness 2 is a pretty high requirement for Turael boosting, but it works extremely well for monkey tasks, which you can do in under a minute. Finally, the Dig Side quest will provide access to a cave where you will find a lot of skeletons, and that is pretty much the best spot to take care of this task, but more alternatives later on. Now that we know what quests and diaries are needed to make this method a little bit more efficient, let's go over what you should wear and take in the inventory to avoid banking and of course losing a valuable time. The only important things to mention which are non-negotiable are a Slayer helmet and an Expeditious bracelet. I will talk about this in a little bit. You can see the rest of my gear is pretty much best in slot, so downgrade whenever you need. The Expeditious bracelet has a chance of 1 kill counting as 2, and this will cost 1 charge. After 30 charges, the bracelet will crumble to dust, so you need to be wearing one at all times. With a high enough combat achievement, there's also a tiny chance for the bracelet to regenerate after 30 uses. In the inventory, I grab a construction cape which you can substitute with house teleport tabs, cannonballs, a rune pouch with astral, cosmic, and air runes, a ranging potion, bone crusher or necklace, an ectophile, an eternal slayer ring which can be substituted with a regular slayer ring, and a Ring of the Elements. This will help us with 2 locations, but it's not absolutely crucial. Follow that up with a Desert Amulet, Arty Cape, Lasar Teleport Tabs, a Skull Crusher obtained from the Stronghold of Security, Chinchompas, a Rope, and the 2 Stamina Potions. You are then going to take your cannon and the 2 or 3 additional Expeditious Bracelets. Important to note that you also need a light source here, like a Fire-making Cape or a Bullseye Lantern, since we will be going to the Lumbridge Cave. And I don't take one because of the Max Cape built-in effect. Once you have all of these adjustments, it is time to get ready. So now we are going to take a look at all the possible tasks in Turael's list, going over them in alphabetical order for easier access, and I will give you 2 locations as well as ways to get there if you don't have the best ones. Go to your house to recover your stats, and use the NPC contact spells to talk to Turael. He will confirm if you want a task from him, so just tell him you do. If you don't want to use the NPC contact, just go to Berthorpe and run east. 2 quick reminders before we start. You should be doing this on any task between 0 and 9, as we will be doing our 10th task with your preferred Slayer Master. Also, Jagex mentioned a few tweaks to Turael tasks, so if any changes are made, check out the pinned comment for the most up-to-date information. We will start with Banshees. Conveniently enough, you can only find these at 2 locations, the Slayer Tower and the Catacombs of Corinth. For the first one, teleport with the Slayer Ring or the Fairy Ring code CKS to Canifis. For Corinth, you may use the Corinth Teleport or the Jerix Amulet. For Bats, we are going to go north of the dig site with the mounted dig site pendant. If you don't have one, get one for your POH as soon as possible. Set up your cannon a few tiles west of the temple, and get to work. The other location is in Taverley Dungeon, and the bats are slightly stronger, but not by that much. And speaking of annoying, my least favorite task has to be bears. I normally go south of the Legends Guild and place my cannon in the middle of the mine, or go southeast of Relica, set my cannon on the southwest bear spawn, and kill the ones northeast to work on 2 spots at once. Birds is one of the best tasks to obtain. You can just slay chickens in a matter of seconds, and I always go north of Lumbridge to set my cannon in the middle of the pen. You can also go to the Port Phasmatis farm and kill undead chickens, which we'll revisit at some point during the list. You can find the cave bugs in the Lumbridge Swamp Caves and the Dorgiscon South dungeon. The latter has a few creatures as the only secondary location, but we're just gonna ignore it for this video. For the bugs, use a Ring of the Elements or Fairy Ring code DIS, and don't forget your light source to avoid getting reefed at the Lumbridge Swamp. Another exception comes right after, and we have cave crawlers. This time we are going to go to the Fremennik Slayer dungeon, which you can get to via Slayer Ring, or the Fairy Ring code DKS and running south. Remember that you cannot place a cannon here, and the only other spot is again the Dorgiscon South dungeon. Yet another exception comes next in the form of cave slimes. You can fight these in the Lumbridge Swamp Caves, and just like before, a Ring of the Elements or Fairy Ring to the Wizard's Tower can be used. Don't forget your light source, and these have a high chance of poisoning you, but it's not going to be a big deal. Another good task are cows. The cow pen east of Lumbridge will do the trick just fine, and you can find another one north of the castle, but it takes a few more seconds to get to. The secondary spot is also the farm west of Port Phasmatis, but ideally you want to focus on the ones around Lumbridge. Crawling Hands can only be found at one location, and it is the first floor of the Canifis Slayer Tower. Go there with a Slayer Ring or Fairy Ring as we mentioned before, and I like how most of their drops are basically gloves or rings. Don't forget to drink your stamina potions from time to time. Jagex, please get rid of dog slayer tasks. But if you get this one, my favorite spot is west of Narda to slay jackals. I place my cannon near the town, and then go further west to fight another clump of dogs running around. As an alternative option, go to Brimhaven Slayer dungeon for closer spawns. Another annoying task is Dwarves. The 2 spots for this one are south of the Ice Mountain in their little workshop, and the Dwarven mines themselves. You can get here quickly with a Lasar Teleport or Monastery Teleport, and funnily enough you cannot place a cannon in the workshop because they are going to get mad at you. You can find ghosts around many locations in RuneScape, but the best one is the Catacombs of Corinth. Go near the Abyssal Demons and attack all of them with Auto-Retaliate on. Some people bring a Din's Bulwark to grab their attention, but it's a little bit extra. For this one, we don't need an additional spot. Another task for which we don't need a secondary spot are Goblins, and it is simply because east of Lumbridge is absolutely plagued with them. Set your cannon west of the gate to the desert, and you can finish this one in a matter of seconds. Best of luck with that Goblin Champion Scroll. We are going to use the Lasar or Monastery Teleport once again to go to the Ice Mountain to defeat Icefiends. They can be found on other locations, but are not very convenient. You can place a cannon here to finish them quicker, and it may even reach the dwarves below the mountain. Kalphites are an extremely good task if you have access to the Kalphite Slayer Cave east of Shanty Pass. Use your desert amulet to travel here and set your cannon in the middle of the room with the small ones. You can also go to the Kalphite lair, but this one has a lot less spawns and it's farther away. Thanks to the addition of Mount Korulm, lizards are not so bad anymore. Enter the dungeon and take the stairs east. Go to the room south for sulfur lizards if you have a level 44 Slayer. If you can't kill these, desert lizards are your primary target, for which you need to finish off with an ice cooler, and I don't really recommend it. Minotaurs are insanely fast to finish off. Invoke your Skull Scepter to go to Barbarian Village and head down the Stronghold of Security. You will find the Minotaurs northeast, and you have 2 rooms to pick from. I always go for this one since it has a few more spawns for an extremely chill task. Monkeys can take a long time or be done in literally just a few seconds. My go-to spot is the Monkey Madness 2 dungeon cave, for which you will also need a light source. Kill maniacal monkeys with chinchompas, or if you want to suffer, go to the RD Zoo and set your cannon east of the monkey cage. To quickly dispose of rats, place your cannon west of the Lumbridge Castle, where you will slay both normal and the giant rats. If you're watching this after January 24th of 2024, you may be able to perform this task with the new mid-level boss Scurius the Rat King. Also, the Varrock sewers will do just fine. Scorpions are easily accessible in the Alcarid mine. If you set up your cannon towards the northern part of the spot, you will have a pretty good coverage. If you have a skills necklace, you can go to the mining guild and head north in the dwarven mines for a lot of scorpions crawling around. The reason why we bring a rope is to go down this winch at the dig site to be able to cannon a lot of skeletons at once. This is a single combat area, so try to safe spot the skeletons to attack many at once. Alternatively, the Catacombs of Korinth has a spot with 6 skeletons, so you may have to hop around. One of the newer creatures are Sourhogs. I personally use the Draenor Manor teleport from the Archaeus spellbook in my POH, but you can use the Chronicle or Amulet of Glory instead. You can place a cannon here, but this is also single combat, and since they attack from a distance, it's a little bit harder to safe spot. To reach spiders quickly, use your RD cape to teleport to the RD Monastery, go to the Clock Tower, and then go downstairs. Take the door northeast and you will reach a spot with tons of giant spiders for your cannon to go absolutely insane. No alternative teleport for this one because this spot is pretty much the best. I like to slay wolves in the Stronghold of Security as well, so keep that Skull Scepter with you at all times. You can also go to the White Wolf Mountain via Gnome Glider, and you can place a cannon at both of these locations for faster kills. Be aware that wolves in the second spot are a little stronger. Last but not least, we have zombies. For these, click on your ectophile and go to the farm west of Port Vesmatis. The undead chickens and cows count as zombies, and there's a whole ton running around. It's much quicker than zombies, even though you're missing a shot at the zombie champion scroll. Alright fellas, that's it for the tasks, but what about a few alternatives? I will now take a few seconds to talk about interesting ways to switch up Turael tasks if you're looking for a slightly different challenge. If you get a bear task, you are able to slay Artio and Callisto. If you're assigned ghosts, revenants will count towards your task, but I don't think you will get the boosted drop rate for the Wildy weapons. If you get goblins, all 3 of the minions in the Bandas room will count. The Kalphite Queen also counts towards, well, Kalphites, but being a Turael task, you will naturally receive a lot less in case you can only stomach a few KC. If you get a monkey task, you can fight demonic gorillas. If you get a scorpion task, you can get Slayer experience for killing Scorpia and her offspring. For skeletons, you may venture into the Wildy and kill Vedian or Calvarian. And the same goes for Venenatis and Spindle on a spider task. Finally, if you get a zombie task, well, Vorkath counts as a zombie, and the same goes for the Kalphite Queen, lower KC will be required. So, after you have done your 9 Turael tasks, it is time to get a real Slayer task from your preferred Slayer master. And I would personally recommend Konar if you have the Elite Karen Diary. Her point per task will go up to a whopping 20, and with a 10 task multiplier, you'll be getting 100 points for your streak. Going up for important milestones like 50, 100, 250, and all the way up to 1000. And now for an important topic. Is it worth doing this as opposed to Wildy Slayer? Well, remember how I said we will go over approximate points per hour? With good RNG, I am able to do 9 Turael tasks and 1 Konar task between 1 hour if I get a quick Konar task, or 1.5 hours with a chunky task like, let's say, Bloodveld. This comes out to be around 100 to 70 points per hour at a pretty good pace. Comparing that to Cristelia is a little more difficult for one thing that we don't have to worry about during Turael tasks, and that is PKers in the wilderness. Remember that if you cancel your Cristelia task to get another one, she will just assign something in her own list, which has a lower chance of offering easy tasks like bears, skeletons, spiders, hill giants, and more. You could be assigned a streak of lengthy tasks like Dust Devils, Abbey Demons, Necreals, and even worse, Revenants, which will make you an easy target. Remember that Crystalia has her own separate task streak, and all the multipliers apply to her important milestones, which can be a lot more attractive if you're fairly low on points. Once you have above 1000 though, you should be on the clear and you should definitely stick to Turael boosting and cancel main Slayer master tasks if you want something chill. Ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of the video. Thank you so much for coming and for making it this far. If you did, and you would like to participate in our weekly bond giveaway, tell me what your favorite Slayer task is and why. Include the term RSN in your comment along with your RuneScape username, and we will draw the winner live on stream on Friday for me to contact you in the game. I want to give a chunky thank you to all the channel members. Your extra support goes a long way, and my family and I cannot thank you enough for it. If you want to be part of this list of champions, click the join button below and see all of the cool perks you can get in the videos, in the live streams, and of course in the Discord. Stay tuned for the next video, in which we will go over an updated list of essential plugins to use during your RuneScape adventures in 2024. For now, I hope you have an amazing day, have an amazing week, and I will see you then. Peace.